Karisa Maxwell of the Sporting News here with former UFC fighter and current CEO of Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA, Jorge Masvidal. Jorge, so good to see you again. You've been very busy promoting your next fight for Gamebred as a promoter, which is on Friday, November 10th at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, streaming live on Gamebred's YouTube channel. So how has that transition been, going from a full-time fighter to now a promoter?
Smooth. Fish to water. It's interesting because all I do is I watch fighters. I watch videos on fighters, on guys that we possibly want to recruit, matchmake, have meetings with my business partners, and just think of ways to bring more eyes to the sport and the next guys that we're going to sign. So it truly is like the smoothest of transitions. And I thank God for that, because I truly, I retired, like you said, and now I have like the best job in the world. You know, I'm doing what I know the most of, what I spent my 20 years as a professional doing, which is fighting. So I couldn't be more thankful for this position I have.
So gloves aside, obviously with bare knuckle, you know, you said you're recruiting. So is there a specific talent that you're looking for when you're looking at these fighters? And what would you say is the biggest difference between bare knuckle and traditional MMA that should attract fight fans to the sport and potentially grow the sport?
Well, the main characteristic I'm looking for is dog. For somebody to have that dog, whether you're winning or losing, to keep going forward, to push through the pain, the fatigue. And not every gloved MMA fighter is a bare knuckle fighter. And I understand reasons why I couldn't no longer do it myself with my brittle hands. But it's a different sport, you know, it's a different level of pain. And also it means a lot more submissions. So when you have these gloves on, you'll have tape, gauze, tape, and then you have this big glove that's 4 ounces. So it's sticking out like that much more above my fist. When you're in a position, like let's say you're on my back and your hand was going across my neck, when I grab that glove, it's different. It's because it's glove on glove. There's no traction. I mean, there's so much traction. So I could just grab that glove and hold on for dear life. And that's it. Stall out the position. When there's no gloves, these hands are like slip and slides. It just, you get here and you can't stop it, you know? And that means that there's more submissions. Now you can get to your lock and finish the position. And we see that every card. It's like, we'll have 5 to 6 submissions per card, per event, you know, and out of 12 fights, you know, and it's amazing stats. We love it because I'm not seeing that much holding of a position or people trying to stall. They're either trying to finish it or they're getting back to their feet, and then those fists fly. So the knockouts are obviously a lot more. The cuts are a lot more. And it's closer. It's how the sport started. It's also the rawest form of the sport, you know. So it's all the same rules as MMA, just no gloves. And they still have tape and gauze to protect their hands and all that. Just no gloves here.
So I've been to a few bare knuckle boxing fights. And as a fight fan, the first thing I notice is that crack of the face, the crack of the skull, the sound is much different. You know, having fought for 20 years, is that still like a little jarring to just kind of hear that pain? And what's the reaction you get from fans who are sitting close to the ring or the cage, who are seeing that firsthand?
I love to invite somebody to my event and then be a special guest, and I have them somewhere where I keep my eye on them, or maybe they're sitting right next to me. And it's like, what the, you know, it's different, you know. Do I feel bad for him? Obviously, I don't want any of my guys to ever get hurt. I don't want nobody going home with broken hands, broken eye orbitals, broken noses. But the same sport that I signed up for is the same beautiful sport that they signed up for. We know that if you go swimming, you might get wet, you know, and big chance you could get hurt, you know, big chance you could also hurt somebody. But it's what's in parentheses in the sport, you know, because you could just take somebody down, choke them out, nobody got hurt, or you could kick them in the head and they go to sleep for 3 minutes. We all know the consequences. So I don't feel bad, but I just don't want nobody to get hurt.
Well, and fighter safety has been a talking point for all combat sports for years now. So now that you're in a position of power as a promoter, as a CEO, is there something specific you're advocating for the promotion and for your fighters that you didn't get during your time in UFC that you would like to see as a change to help with that fighter safety?
The UFC has done what I'm about to say, but I would just keep doing more of it. And all I would like, as the company's growing right now, we couldn't afford to do it. But in the near future, this is something we've been talking about, is just be able to have everybody that's going to come compete for us, just have them get analyzed, get the brain scans, get all that stuff before, during, get the safest technology we can to do it, because I don't want to microwave guys' brains either, but just be able to keep like a tracking system on the guy, on their brain, see how it's developing through their career, 7-8 years of pro fighting. What happened? What are we seeing? Something like that would be good, mixed with obviously medical healthcare for these guys. That's going to take some time. We are just operational for 3 years, but we will get there. We will get there because these are things that I always wanted for me. So I'm going to make sure my fighters have it. It'll give them more incentives to come on over and work for us,
So you kind of teased it already about your hands and that you're done with fighting. But we know how the word retire is kind of thrown around in fight sports. So would you ever consider fighting on your own card for Gamebred Bareknuckle? And if so, who would be the perfect opponent?
Oh, if it was bare knuckle and it was just one fight, it'd be Colby Covington's cupcake. I'd break every bone in his face. And that'd be my one fight though, because my hands, I don't have the best hands. So it'd be my one and done fight. So I'd bring him over to my promotion and just dog him. Over and over until some man has to pull me off of him. But other than that, I mean, whoever would get me the biggest check.
Would you ever consider a rematch with Nate Diaz for the Gamebred version of the BMF title?
But like bare knuckle?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, because Nate, I don't really dislike Nate like that. I'd rather like boxing or something like that because he says he's good at boxing. I don't believe it.
Well, we saw how that went down with Jake Paul. But if Gamebred Promotions was to have a BMF title, what would it be called? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, we've thought about that a lot. We're working on the name. We're working on it. We're gonna get back to you on that one.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to it.
Because my better halves are here and they're like, they're not releasing the name yet. So I guess it's like secret.
Okay, fair enough. So, I have to ask you about the fight we watched this weekend, the boxing fight between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou. Now, people counted Francis out from the very beginning, but after seeing that stellar performance and seeing that knockdown in the third round, were you surprised by that performance and how he put on a show against the heavyweight champ?
Let me just say, I wasn't counting him in there after 8 rounds. In my calculations in my head, I just didn't see it happening. It's such a tall mountain. Tyson Fury is such a tall mountain to get just to survive 12 rounds. Just that he got to the 12th round and he would have took a beating every one of those rounds, but he would have made it to the end, would have been a monumental thing. That he knocked him down, that he hurt him to the body, that he walked him down, that he made a lot of these rounds so close, and a lot of these rounds he won them clearly. It's crazy. To me, he won, on the sense of like the moral victory, the streets, everything he won. He didn't get that decision that day, Judges in boxing have always known they're crazy, shady, whatever. I would love to see a rematch. So I think Ngannou 6 months from now, I don't know what'll happen, what'll come out of that. At the same time, we are talking about Tyson Fury, one of the greatest heavyweights ever. He might make all the adjustments he needs to do to do it because now he saw that for 12 rounds. He saw that we generate the power in a different way. We move different. Our head and our arms aren't always coordinated how they're always coordinated. We do it all different. So maybe Tyson needed to see that, feel that, and then put his game plan together. Or maybe freaking Ngannou's going to just Mike Tyson him up in the next one. We don't know, man, but I want to see. I would pay for the second one.
Do you think Francis should now be considered a serious contender in the heavyweight division? And if we don't see that rematch with Tyson Fury right away, because he's allegedly going to fight Alexander Usyk finally, who do you think would be the best next opponent for him to really prove that he is a serious contender in that division?
There's so many good fights, and we can make some of them at Gamebred Boxing. But there's so many good fights. I mean, him and Anthony Joshua, him and Andy Ruiz. Are you kidding me? Him and Andy Ruiz would be the best fight because Andy's going to be right there. Andy's a little bit more like, stay in your face in the pocket and start ripping bombs. And he's got tremendous hand speed. He looks in the best shape of his life. I'm excited to see Andy Ruiz back, no matter who it is against. But there's a lot of guys from Ngannou. Anthony Joshua would be a good one for him. Tyrone Spong is another killer out there. Tyrone Spong is 14-0 right now. I don't know if you know who that is. He's a 2-time Glory champion. He was in K1 as well. This guy's one of the best boxers right now in the heavyweight division. He was just ranked, but due to some technicalities, he got unranked for inactivity. But now he's back. This is a guy that could fight Ngannou.
Well, and there's a lot of MMA fighters who are trying to make that transition to boxing. And we've seen Nate Diaz, we've seen Tyron Woodley fight the Paul brothers. So let's take the Paul brothers out of it and let's look at the precedent that Francis Ngannou set. He walked out with Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman. Do you think that this is going to be a trend moving forward where we're going to see more of these MMA fighters shooting their shot in the ring?
I would love to. It's combat, and also it's not for everybody, right? So if you were a world champion in MMA and, majority of it was your wrestling or your jiu-jitsu, you might not do so well in combat. But for those that can make that transition, hell yeah, it's the biggest paydays are in boxing. I want to see my brothers and sisters, especially if they put that time in on MMA and they know what that grind is like. It's like nothing else in the world, that MMA grind. You're sparring on Tuesday, getting your leg kicked, knee in the rib, all this stuff. To go your strength and conditioning that same Tuesday night. And then after that, go home, sleep. Maybe you got to wake up and run some miles a night just for your weight. And you got practice Wednesday morning. You're going to wrestle for like 2 hours and a half hard. And then Wednesday night, you're going to do some boxing. And then after that, some conditioning. It's one of the most like gruesome life as far as like, training and pushing it goes. And I would love to see them get freaking huge checks and come on over to boxing, because a lot of them maybe didn't get that good check in MMA because it's hard to break out in MMA and get those big numbers. It's not easy, So I love seeing my brothers and sisters come on over and get a nice one.
Now, I know you don't want to talk about you potentially boxing, but again, you are a fan. And I did notice that on October 14th, you tweeted that this is a disgrace to boxing. Now I assume you're talking about the Logan Paul Dillian Davis fight. And I was just curious to know, at what point of that fight, as bizarre as it was, prompted you to tweet that, to be like, this fight is absolutely ridiculous?
Round one. I just was trying to but something's gonna happen. I don't know, man. You gotta have more respect for the sport. That Dylan, we all know I don't even know what the he is, but it's just sad. I just love boxing. He shouldn't be allowed ever again to boxing. He should be banned for life. This loser. He didn't. How many punches did he throw? He tried to grab him more than anything. Single legs, trying to choke. Like it's boxing for a reason. There's a rule set. You got to follow it. If not, you're cheating. How about if Logan threw a knee? Like what? Would it have been bad? He kept shooting and shooting and shooting. And also from Logan's part, I didn't see enough dog from him trying to put this guy away. I think he should have put him away. He shouldn't have took him to a decision. I think he should have put himself at some risk and hurt this guy seriously and kept hurting him and getting him out of there. But whatever, that's what I thought. Like on both ends, like it just wasn't boxing to me. Not what I'm accustomed to.
Well, let's throw it back to bare knuckle for this November 10th fight. For the fans who are tuning in, which fight on that card do you think has the potential to be the fight of the night?
Obviously, the main event, I think, could be end and knockout of the year, fight of the night. It could win all types of awards, like best bare knuckle fight ever. It's a damn near possibility. I think this could be the one to really put us in another stratosphere. The co-main event, Joel Bauman versus Melinda. This is a great fight. Both these guys are mean and athletic, speed, power, and they have that will to want to hurt the other guy and get him out of there, not leave it to the judges. Two guys I got a lot of high hopes for that I'm looking forward to. Bauman's had now 3 fights with us, finished everybody, can wrestle, can strike, and has superior hand speed than everybody he's fought. So this is another guy that I'm very big on. We got Jason Knight versus Randy Costa. That's gonna be a war. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a good one. That no matter what will be, if it's not fight tonight, it'll be the crowd's favorite fight for a fact. I think that fight's gonna be a riot as soon as it happens. Chase Sherman. We got Chase Sherman. We got Alex Nicholson as well. I'm very excited about those fights. Chase Sherman fight is gonna be amazing. It's gonna be a good fight, man. We're from top to bottom, from when the event starts to it finishes, everybody will be very well pleased.
Great. Well, fans are just going to have to tune in on your YouTube channel on Friday, November 10th.
Did I tell you it's free? Just for you, it's free.
Oh, okay, great. I'll watch. I'll be there. Right. I know this location is where you had your first fight there, right? For the promotion?
Biloxi, Mississippi. So you're coming now because you said you're going to be there.
Well, I'm not going to be there. I'll be in front of the YouTube channel watching.
Yeah, you can't. So in your message, you're supposed to be saying, "I'll be watching."
I'll be watching. I will be there in spirit, but I will be watching. Everyone else should tune in too. Jorge, it's always great talking to you. I look forward to catching up again to find out more about this bare knuckle version of the BMF title. I am holding you accountable to that.
After November 10th, we're going to come back and we're going to tell you who's going to headline January 20th. How about that?
I look forward to it. Very excited for that. Thank you so much for chatting with me and catching up. We will talk soon. And everybody tune in to Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA Friday, November 10th on the Gamebred Bareknuckle MMA YouTube channel. Thanks, Jorge.